Hello, traders. Welcome to Trading Together. I'm Mel Gacee. Today is Monday, December the 29th. I hope everybody had a wonderful, blessed, just peaceful holiday season with your loved ones. I definitely did. And it's just so important to take a little time out and really kind of reflect on what's important, your friends and your family. That's what really matters. So I hope you all got a chance to do that. I hope you all recuperated and rested a little bit. I'll tell you, the holidays, I don't get a ton of rest. I usually wind up running myself ragged, but that's kind of, I guess, par for the course when it comes to the holidays. Anyway, I'm so glad you're here with me. It's so much better than trading alone. If you're here this morning, I would love it if you would drop your name here in the chat and just say hi. This stream is intended to be really kind of tutorial. We're going to trade together. I take trades, and sometimes it might go a little fast. It might go over your head if you're new. But what I also do here, besides trading, is I'm trying to teach and train and help newer traders learn how to navigate the stock market. So traders of all levels are welcome. Again, I take a lot of winning trades on this stream. In fact, I'm not sure we've even taken a loss yet. I have a pretty high win rate. So traders of all levels are welcome here, but I'm going to really try to help those traders that are just starting out and needing some guidance here. So that being said, drop your name in the chat, drop your questions, drop your comments. There's no such thing as a dumb question or a newbie question. Drop it in there and I will tackle it. All right. Okay. So let's talk about this market here. We have opened up with a gap down, and then we had a nice strong push up. I'm going to get my VIX here so you can see it. It's kind of, my face is kind of covering it here. Let's see if that's better. There we go. So we're looking at basically some sideways motion since the market opened. Now we did open with a gap down, so I'll show you that. Gap down means that there's space between where we closed on Friday and where we opened today. That's a gap down. Here's our close. Here's our open. Gap up is just the reverse. Here's our close. Here's our open. Today was a gap down. Not unexpected. We had several days run. So let's take a look at this daily chart and I'll show you what I mean. We'll go over here to the daily and we'll look at SPX. Remember, SPX is the symbol for the S&P 500. It's how we look at the actual index, the S&P 500 index. We look at it on Thinkorswim through the SPX. All right. We're going to take a look at this daily chart and see what makes sense here. Let me zoom out a little. All right. Good morning, Wes. Good to see you. Okie dokes. So here, this was on October 29th. And then we immediately did this drop, did a pull up, a little round over, and then boom, another leg up. Well, what are we getting over the last couple of days? A little bit of indecision here. These candles are saying, we're at the all-time high. We're going to chill out a little bit here. We are not super excited to keep charging up at this moment. All right. Looks like Will is here. Bill is here. Good morning and welcome, Wes and Bill. Good to have you here. Hi, guys. I do appreciate that. Okay. So the daily chart is showing us a little exhaustion here at this top. Now, does that mean we can't turn and go some more? No, and I think we will. I think we will turn and go some more. I don't see a super hard drop from here, but I could be wrong. What I think we're getting here is a bit of a pullback before we move up to our next leg. That's kind of what I think. But it could go any way it wants to. It can definitely continue down here. We continued down over here for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So it's possible we could get another push down here. But today we've really done a good job at holding this level right here, 6,900, right in here. And do you think my chart needs any more lines? It doesn't, but we do need to draw a line at 6,900 because that is now becoming an area of support. And as long as we do not break that today, I think that'll continue to be our support. So I'm going to put a line right here at 6,900, right where we're sitting. And as if we needed another line on this chart, but there it is. And that's what's holding us up right now, this 6,900 level. So we do have a gap to fill here, and those gaps do act like magnets. So let me zoom in and we'll go over gaps in a little bit more detail. All right. So right here over the last few days, we made some gaps to the upside. This is a gap right here. This is a gap right here. So the best way to describe gaps is to say there's air, right? There's air between the close of the previous day and the open of the next day. So we have some air here. Now, gaps can act as magnets. It could draw this price down to fill these gaps. I don't know if it will. It's possible. And we are just below 6,900 at the moment. So anything could happen. But that's kind of what we're looking at here on this daily chart. This gap down below us, we're getting a little slowdown after this all-time high. That's really normal. You can see it happened back here in October as well. We hit the all-time high, boom, there was a push. Look at how high that push was. Wow, look at these gaps. Talk about air, right? Boom, 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 huge gaps. And we just in 5 days jumped up and boom, tagged that all-time high. And then what we do immediately? Whew, we pulled back. Now, zooming out, you can see we didn't pull back very far. So if you look at the big picture, big picture, let's zoom way out. Look at that. We did not drop very far. This is where we got to, this little spot right here. We didn't come down too far. We're still in this zone of the all-time high. So that's where we're sitting. So don't be too fooled by these moves down. We haven't gone too far. It's still my thesis that we should jump up and tag 7,000 on the SPX probably by the year end, right around in there. Last week of this year or first week of the new year, I think that's where we're headed, and it's not very far overhead. Our high on Friday was 69.45. Well, that's 55 points away from 7,000. That's not hard to do at all. But of course, today we did pull back. So today we are trying to hold this level. So let's see if we do that. If we drop down, like I said, we could be a magnet for this gap fill. If they hold 6,900 today, we could get a little Nike swoosh, a little pull back and pull up, another leg up. That could be what's in the cards. So that's kind of what I'm watching for, and that's my kind of big picture analysis. I do think we should be moving up into the year end. That's just my thoughts on it. Doesn't have to go that way. And here's the idea. I'm always going to trade what's in front of me. What do we say? We say trade like water. I'm going to trade like water, the charts that are in front of me, right? We can have our macro picture vision, and that's important. We need to do the work and we need to do the studies, but we can't let our bias control the way we trade. So that's really, really important. So right now, my bias is we should be coming up, but I can't let that control my trading because today, what are we doing? We're coming down. We're coming down, and we can't lose sight of that fact. So we have to be aware. All right. So let's take a look at the leaderboard here. The VIX got a big pop this morning. Now we've come down. So let me zoom out a little on the VIX here. We've come down from the open. Oh, I know it's hard for you guys to see with my face in the way. Let me move it over here. So we've come down from the open. We're getting a little, kind of a little bit of a little bitty climb here, but we have moved down from the open. So at one point, I think we were up almost 10% on the VIX. So good jump on the VIX. And remember, the VIX is the volatility index. That's what it's named, the volatility index. It tries to measure the fear or the exuberance in the markets. So when the VIX is moving up, fear is moving up in the markets, we would expect to see the markets coming down. When VIX is moving down, there's exuberance in the market. So we would expect to see the markets moving up. And that's usually the way it works. Every now and then they get their wires crossed, but most of the time that is the way it works. So with the VIX giving us a big pop up and our gap down this morning, the overall sentiment this morning is bearish. We haven't really been able to manage to hold and keep the VWAP today. So the VWAP, of course, is the volume weighted average price. You'll hear me mention it every day on this channel. That is it's a form of a moving average that gets weight from the volume. So we don't just average out the price. We also add in some calculations for how much volume we're doing here. And that's helpful. So this white line here is the VWAP, volume weighted average price. When I use the VWAP, so I have an upper 2 standard deviations above, 2 standard deviations below. You can think of the VWAP as a highway. I think of it as a highway. This is the center meridian, right? Or the divider. And these are the outer edges. And the VWAP is telling us, are we going north or are we going south? If we are over the VWAP for extended periods of time, chances are good that the market is bullish and we're going up. If we are below the VWAP for an extended period of time, the chances are good that we are bearish and we're moving down. So as you can see today, we've had a little, let me make this chart just a little bigger for you. We can see that we've had some trouble maintaining any price movement over the VWAP. We came up here at the open and boom, came right back down. Tried to come back up over here at about 10:35 Eastern, boom, came down. We tried again here, rejected. We're trying again right now. If we can get up over the VWAP, I am interested in calls. Now, calls are when you want the market to go up. Puts are when you want the market to go down. Those are options. That's what I do here. I day trade and scalp options. I day trade 0 DTE options, meaning these are options that are expiring today. My goal in taking a trade is to be in and out quickly and to grab a small percentage win. I'm not swinging for the fences. I'm not looking for huge wins. I'm looking for small, consistent base hits. And I tend to run about a 90% win rate. Since we've been streaming every day, we've not taken a loss. Now, fingers crossed, right? We don't want to jinx that, but we're going to have to take a loss. But by and large, 90% of the time, I'm going to take winning trades, but they're little, they're not huge. And that's just my strategy. That's part of my strategy. So as we watch this chart, what I'm watching for is a climb over the VWAP. We just haven't been able to do it. We did it for a minute here and then boom, and back down below it. So once we can get a nice push up through the VWAP, we might be able to get some traction. But right now, we're just sideways. The dreaded Dark of Moria, the sideways market. And that is the market that is kryptonite for the scalper and the day trader, because we're not getting any action on puts or calls. We're just barely going this way. And when that happens, what we tend to find is that the options, especially options expiring today, are losing time value, or we would call it theta. It's one of the Greeks. Options lose their time value because all options expire worthless. They all have an expiration date and they all expire worthless. So we want to be careful with that. We want to watch out and make sure that we are not holding options too long, because when we hold them too long, they become losing trades. And even if it's going in our direction, if we've held it too long, we're going to lose our time value and that option is going to lose value. So we got to be careful with that. So right now, that's what we're looking at. You can see it right here. If we zoom out, you'll see it even better. Take a look. You can see that we kind of had this blip and this pulled down, but where are we? Right back in the range. This is just nothing but a range, right? Now we haven't really lost this bottom yet. That doesn't mean we can't, but right now we're building a bottom kind of right in here at this 686, 687 level on the SPY, and right in here just under 6,900 on the SPX. So as long as we're holding that bottom, I'm not too bearish. But if we come down and break it, then we can look at puts, and we could be looking at coming down. Like I showed you earlier, we could be looking at a gap fill. Potentially that could happen. So right now, I'm not too bearish until we break this bottom. I'm also not super bullish because we haven't been able to capture and hold the VWAP. So right now, we're in sideways chop, and that's where we have to sit on our hands. We have to sit on our hands and not take trades, even though we're tempted during sideways chop. Those trades, most of the time, are not going to go in our favor. As you can see, let me zoom in here and I'll show you what I mean. We could have taken calls in here, and it probably wouldn't have done it. There's not enough movement here to make money. Puts here, same thing. Calls here, same thing. We call this chop. This is where you get chopped up. You buy a call, it doesn't make enough, and then it goes against you. So you buy a put, it doesn't make enough, and then it goes against you. So now your call's losing, your put's losing. That's getting chopped up. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get chopped up. So what we want to know is what are our signposts? What are our indicators? What are they telling us? Right now, they're telling us we're in chop. So that being said, we can take a look at what I call the leaderboard, just my watch list. And on my watch list, I keep a few things. I keep all of the indices and their futures. So I'm always watching what the other indices are doing. I also keep the Magnificent Seven. These are the 7, or we would also say 8 stocks that keep the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 afloat. 8 stocks make up 40% of the value of the S&P 500. And that changes, it fluctuates, right? But basically, that's a rough estimate. Makes up 40% of the S&P 500. So as the Mag 7s go, so goes the market. And I always keep my eyes on that. Same for the NASDAQ. It's the same issue because NASDAQ is the tech index holding all the tech stocks. And of course, the Mag 7 are the mega titan tech stocks. So what are they? Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, NVIDIA, Tesla, Google, and sometimes Broadcom. So I have all of these on my list and I watch them. And I also watch the ETF named MAGS. That is just an ETF built over the Magnificent Seven. So that kind of gives us a collective view of what the Mag 7 is doing. So we've got Apple just sitting at its flat line, Amazon down about 0.4, Microsoft down 0.4, Google down 0.5, Broadcom down 0.7, Meta down 0.8, Tesla down 1.6. So it's made a little bit of a recovery. It was down worse, I think, earlier. NVIDIA down 1.8. Gold and silver took a big tumble today. but that's not part of Mag 7. That's just interesting to me. But so here we can see basically all of the Mag 7 is in the red. When we see that, we would expect the S&P and the NASDAQ to also be in the red, which of course it is. So we're sitting right now at about 0.46 negative on the SPY, and the Qs are just below us at 0.67. So again, not a super hard drop, but not anything bullish either. So my expectation is pretty much sideways. That's pretty much what I'm expecting today. Now I do have an area of interest overhead right here at 690. So it's possible when I see these areas of interest, it's possible that we could jump up and hit that today. We haven't been able to do it so far. The highest we could get today was 689 on the SPY. Close, but no cigar. So let's see if at some point during the day, we're going to get some kind of a push up. I think it's possible. We'll keep watching for that. But right now, as far as trades go, nothing yet, just sideways motion. See it here? Boom, 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 boom. Sideways, sideways. And the volume is pretty slim, pretty thin volume there, not too much happening. The other thing that I do like to look at is the fear and greed index. So I'm going to take a look at that real quick. And I can switch my screens up so you can see it. There we go. We're right in neutral today. So let's see. Let's get over here to the live stream and stop the share. And then let's add the fear and greed index just so you can see what it looks like. All right, there we go. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, good. Okay. So basically we're sitting right smack dab in the middle of neutral. We were over here in extreme greed not that long ago. Greed actually says a week ago we were in greed. And right now we're just sitting in neutral. And this fear and greed index looks at 7 different indicators. So it's looking at market momentum. So basically, what are the rest of the stocks doing? The strength of the stock, like how many new 52-week highs are we making? It's looking at breadth. So we're looking at across the board, how are stocks doing? It's looking at the put to call ratio. And of course, we're saying we're in extreme fear in the put to call ratio, something to be aware of. Market volatility is the VIX, what we just talked about, and it's 50-day moving average saying the VIX is at neutral, and it is because we're sitting at about 14. Safe haven demand, that's something that we pay attention to. When the market gets fearful, it moves into safe havens like bonds. And so this indicator is saying there's some fear in our demand. Junk bond demand is when the market is pretty exuberant and wants to put money in all the high risk products, and junk bonds are certainly a high risk product. So junk bond demand showing we're in extreme greed. So it takes all of these indicators and it summarizes them together, and it gives us a summation number right here, 49. So sit right at neutral, right between greed and fear. And that makes a lot of sense because let me get back to our charts and you'll see. Let me stop that share and add my new share. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen. That's better. All right. So, all that to say that with those all-time highs that we just made and this little round over, the market is trying to figure out, is it bullish or bearish? Are we going to continue up? Are we going to continue down? What's going to happen? The market hasn't quite figured that out yet, but it's trying. That's why we're in neutral. Like I said earlier, I think the direction is going to be up by the end of the year. That's pretty much what I'm thinking. Again, I've been wrong. It doesn't have to be up by the end of the year, but that's how it's looking for me. So again, we're really doing a nice job of holding this bottom here. Right in here, you can see my cursor. Right here, even pre-market, we've sat right at this bottom, which I said earlier was just under 6,900 on the SPX. Now, if we break this bottom, we could consider some puts here. But until then, I'm going to let this thing finish its run and show us. It's going to have to break out of this range at some point, and show us which direction it really wants to go in. Okay? All right. So this is a great place if anybody has questions or comments. We can't take a trade just yet. So if you have any questions or comments, it's a great time to drop them in the chat. And we can talk about Bitcoin here for a minute. Bitcoin is one of my favorite equities or assets because I'm super bullish. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are both going to have strong moves in 2026 to the upside. So I'm waiting for that to pan out, and I keep Bitcoin on my watch list. And Bitcoin is sitting right at 87,700. So kind of in that 87, 88 range where we've been for quite a while. Let's take a look at that chart just for the heck of it. That's the minute chart. Let's look at the daily here. And you can see Bitcoin has taken a beating from its all-time high, which was right at 127. It has just been beaten down mercilessly. Came down and hit a low here of 80,000. That's the lowest we'd seen in, a couple of years, right? I guess we saw it earlier in 2025. We saw it in April. But basically, been a long time since we've seen a low down at 80. And then we got a bounce, and we haven't come back down to that level since. So let me zoom in so you can see it a little better. Look at how it's making a bottom here. Pretty strong bottom there. Right there. Right in this 85, 86 range, right in through here. It's trying to bottom out and looks like to me, it wants to start moving upward, but we just can't get any traction on it. It's just sideways right now. So the good news is, kind of like today's chart on the SPX, the good news is we haven't broken the bottom, but there's not a lot of ton of movement to the top. Not a lot of, now we are seeing, let's zoom in on this volume a little bit and see if we can see anything different. We've got some higher volume here when we got this push. We got a little high volume day right there. But since then, it's kind of been down a little bit. Volume's kind of down a bit. But at least it's higher than it was a couple of days ago. So again, tiny candles, not much movement, just waiting for Bitcoin to break now. So it's got a bottom, but also it's got a top. Look at all these wicks. Where are they sitting? Right at 90. 90K is right where those wicks are sitting on Bitcoin. Right here. Wick, 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 wick. So 90K. Today it looks like we beat 90K. We got up to 91K. That's a first. We haven't seen that in a few days. So I'm just waiting and watching for Bitcoin to have its day in the sun. We'll see what happens with that. All right, let's get back over to the SPY and see what we're doing here. Looks like we're still pulling sideways. All right, again, that's our daily. You can see our tiny little red doji sitting here, just behaving itself, not going anywhere right now. Let's go over to our 1 minute. And there we are. Again, sideways, 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 sideways. This is starting to look a bit like a descending triangle, which can be bearish. See the top coming down, but the bottom staying mostly flat. That's a descending triangle. But here we're getting a bit of a bounce, so that's good. We like that. All right, giving us a little push now. Very nice. I'd like to see us break up through the VWAP. Could we take a call here? Yes, but we keep getting knocked down. So I'd like to see us push up through the VWAP. What that means is we might miss the move. Sometimes that happens. When we wait for confirmation, sometimes we miss the move. But I do like getting prepared for calls here. If this can give us another good push, let's see. Little bit of a volume. Get a little volume here, a little bit of increased volume here. That's good. That's good sign. We like that. If we were going to take calls, I would be looking at these first calls right here in the money at 687, or the next ones above it at 686. You could even go below if you wanted to. So no strong push just yet. We got it right there for a second and then a little pullback. Nope. Coming back down. So still just sideways. It's not breaking out of the range just yet. Back down to 68.98 where we've been kind of stopping, kind of just hanging out. Let's see if we try to break it this time. Got a little bounce on the VIX right here. This candle giving us a little bounce on that drop. Wee bit of a bounce. Let's see if we can hold this bottom. Little bit of volume increase here, just a little bit, nothing major. All right, getting some downward signals here. Looks like it's trying to break the bottom. Right there where I have my cursor is where I'm looking at this bottom to break. Let's see if we get that. VIX giving us a little tiny drop, nothing big. All right, there's a little pop. Here we go. Nice little pop. What we haven't been able to do is to change this pattern. So we've had basically lower lows, lower highs. So here's our high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And we have not been able to break that pattern for several hours. This has been going on since, well, over an hour. So since about 10:30 Eastern, we're now at 11:40 Eastern. So here we go. Here's the break of the bottom. There it goes. This line right here is our overnight low. So that's what it's testing right now, is how low we got last night. Sometimes those levels get respected and there's a response off of them, and sometimes they just blow through them. All right, so new low, beat this low, new low, coming down to our overnight low. And do we want to consider puts here? We could. See, so here's our overnight low. You can see it right here, pre-market. This little gray area, that's pre-market. And that's where this line is drawn. I drew that line. And here we are at pre-market lows. Let's see what happens here. A little response right here, just a little one. Looks like a little volume push on that last candle. Sometimes that means a reversal. A little bearish drop here. All right, little response off the overnight low. That's good. Let's see if we can keep going or if it's just a little temporary response. Okay. Not much movement here off this bottom. Not looking good for a reversal. Not yet. All right, little movement, a little bit. So no call trade here because we just don't know yet if we are truly reversing. We need to see the MACD roll over. We need to see a little bit more support in this price action. It's very slow right now. Let's see if this moving average can continue upward. So this is a really fast moving average right here, this pink line. That's the 3 period. So it's really fast. It follows the price really closely. But when we start seeing the 3 come up over the 9, like this is right here, it's about to do that right now. That's one of the beginning signals that we are reversing to the up or to the down if we're coming down over the 9 or up over it, either way. All right, a little bit of a push here. We like that. Okay, very nice. There we go. So again, I'd like to take a call here, but I really want to see us get over this most recent high. Ideally, I'd like to see us get over the VWAP, but we might miss the move. We do have a MACD rollover right here. So that's a good sign. We've got the moving average pointing up. We've got the 3 over the 9. That's a good sign. Got a little drop on the VIX. That's a good sign. So all of those things are kind of pointing to maybe we could take a call. But again, here's our issue is these highs that we need to beat. We need to get up higher than this before I risk it. And no real commitment to do that yet. You can see the price action is just not committed yet. You know price action when it's committed, it looks different. Committed price action has gas behind it. This is not committed price action. All right, there we go. So not only have we not been able to recover the VWAP, we've not been able to recover the 20 period. And that's important. We're doing that right now. But we've come up a few times before, 1 or 2 candles and then reversed. 1 or 2 candles reversed. One little candle right now. So let's see if we can recover that 20. That'll be the first step. And then we'll recover the VWAP if we're moving up. No evidence just yet. It's still in a downward trend. It needs to break this. And these slow motion days are torture, aren't they? What do I say? I know you guys know what I say. 90% of trading is patience. You have to be patient. And that's so hard. It's so hard just to sit here and stare at these screens all day, but it pays off. You just got to be disciplined. It's really important. All right. Not beating this little top just yet. You can see it kind of clearly over here. This is my, actually I'm looking at the SPX here, but there's a little teeny little top that was just building right there. So we got to keep an eye on that. See if we can come up and break that and then tackle this top. That's what we need to do. All right, it's trying. It's trying. The little engine that could. Come on. Come on now. There we go. There we go. All right, we could consider, like I was talking earlier, we could consider taking a trade here. I think I'm going to look at the 6, 8, 6s. They're a little bit in the money, but that's the one I'm going to look at. I'm not in it yet. I'm just looking. We still really haven't beaten the top, but we're getting closer. We're getting a little bit more bullish here on this move. Got a little dip on the VIX, and that's what we would want to see. Here we go. No, not doing anything right here. This is the kind of day we've had all day. Not doing anything. So, and it's not super abnormal to have these low volatility, low volume days on short weeks, even though we are in the Santa rally potentially. These low volatility days, low volume days are pretty common in these holiday weeks. So, it takes a little bit of extra careful trading to navigate these days. And some days, honestly, some days it takes a while to get a trade, and that's okay. That's okay. I mean, I trade a lot of trades during the day, but on days like this, sometimes you just don't have the setup that you want. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give this call a try. I'm in the 686s. Let's see if we can get it to push one more time for us. A little bit of green on the VIX. Like to see a red one here. That would be nice. Just no movement here, hardly at all. Hard to see any movement here. All right, we got a little green here. Come on now. Come on, give us a push. Here we go. There's a little red blip on our VIX. Come on, one more push. Getting a little red one here. Okay. So slow. It's just torture, isn't it? Come on, Thomas, a little engine that could. Yeah. You can do it. So, so slow. Come on, one good little push here. There we go. Good. There. Good, 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 good. All right. I'm going to jump out at 5%. That's okay for me. It might keep going, but I'm going to take it because this price action is brutal. How'd you guys do? Anybody take that one? How'd you do, Wes? Did you take it? It was a quick little 5%. I'm okay with that. Like I said, the price action is brutal and the move is getting a little old, right? So it's been trucking along here for a minute. I did, but I don't know where to find how I did. Oh, okay, Wes. I don't know what platform you're on, but on Thinkorswim, under your monitor tab, you can see on the monitor tab, you can see your trades right here under filled orders. You can see all of your trades. So I don't know if you're on Thinkorswim or not, but if you are, that's a good place to see it. If you're not, if you're on a different brokerage, all different brokerages are going to have the same similar thing, the same idea. And it's just kind of an order history. You'll see what you got in for, what you got out for. And that's pretty common. They display it differently depending on the platform. But congrats on that trade, Wes. Nicely done. All right. How about you, Bill? Did you take that trade? Hopefully you did. Little win. That's my fourth win today. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my fifth win today. No losses so far. I know I had a profit just trying to figure it out. I got you, Wes. That's okay. And if you can't, I'm sure you can give your broker a call and have them walk you through it. It's normal to need to know that information. So, but congrats to you. All right, guys. Well, we have come up to the end of our stream. That trade came in right at the last second, didn't it? So I'm glad we were able to take that, even if it was little. That's okay. We'll take that 5%. I'm happy with it. Wes, I'm glad you took it, and really good having you guys here with me. Like I said, I love having company when I trade because trading can be a lonely profession. And I'm here on these screens all day long. So when I get to have company, I appreciate it. I will be back here again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. I appreciate you all. Sorry, 9 a.m. Mountain. I appreciate you all. I'll be back, and you all take care. It's been a pleasure. Bye for now.